Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Today, I want to talk about love and beauty. So, of course, naturally, we associate love most especially with a person, right? And sometimes with a place as well. I was just in my happy place last week visiting, and my goodness, the difference environment makes when you're in your habitat. It felt like, yeah, my heart was just swelled with love for the land, love for the water, love for just the way that I feel like I can just breathe and my shoulders relax and my belly exhales and softens and I just, yeah, the place softens me and I felt like I could just be me and I felt feminine. I felt like a woman and I just felt so happy. I felt so happy. And then coming back to my not so happy place, definitely not my habitat, not my environment. I've been waking up with sadness in my heart. And so I was reflecting upon how we associate love with a person or a place and how our heart can yearn for that love. It can yearn for that person. It can yearn for the place. And when we feel like we don't have it, it feels like there's a lack of, there's the scarcity of. And I was taking a walk and I had a moment where I caught this beautiful butterfly that was on these wildflowers that are growing along the side of the road. And I just stopped and I watched, and it was just such a beautiful moment. Like the butterfly itself was so beautiful, the flowers were beautiful. And I just took this moment to stop and just watch as it, like, was withdrawing the nectar from the flower. And it was such a thing of beauty that it in just being present with it, my heart had that same kind of like swelled up with the feeling of like, oh, love. This is the feeling of love. And so, of course, it's natural and normal for us as humans, because we're relational beings, to relate love or associate love with a person or a place. But really, the thing that keeps us, the thing that excites us the most about love is being in a state of love, being in love, right? In the embodiment of love. And I used to talk about this when I did workshops on manifesting your soulmate and just relationship in general. And I would say, like, what is the thing that people love most about love and being in relationship? And of course, it's super lovely and amazing and wonderful to be loved by someone, but it's the state of love, of being in love, of loving, that feels so exquisite that's often the thing that we most miss, and that's the thing that we're most wanting. So today I want to talk about, how do we be in a state of love and in the appreciation of the love and the beauty, which can be the catalyst to bring us into that embodiment of love. So let's dive in and see where it takes us. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. I know that there are many people out there right now that are waiting for partnership, for relationship, for romantic love, for sacred union, whatever the word is for you. I know that there are many people, including myself, that are waiting for that. And when I was doing the relationship work and I was guiding people through manifesting a soulmate, a partner, whatever you want to call it, the thing that people would rub up against the most is how to be in a state of joy and open-heartedness when you're waiting for something that your heart wants so much that the waiting can create sadness and create pain and create all sorts of different emotions that are challenging to be with, because loneliness arises, right? And even if you don't go into the places of loneliness, there's still this, the word that I like to use is that partnership doesn't complete us. It doesn't make us whole. We're already whole. We're already complete as we are. We're already good enough as we are. But does it enhance? Yes. If it's the right relationship for us and it's in resonance and it's in harmony, then it enhances what is already within us. Right. And so I'm not going to lie that, of course, most people want to be in relationship because it's a wonderful thing to experience. Of course, it has its challenges as well. But like when you are in a state of love, it's exponentiated because there's two, right? And there's what gets created by what I call the third entity. And for me, I really am a believer that when two people come together with awareness and consciousness and integrity and an open heart, it's like a highway to heaven. It's a channel to source. I think, of course, we can do that individually, of course, but there's something that happens in union where that gets amplified in a really beautiful way. So, but what happens when we're wanting that, but we're not in it? Or, I'm going to also use the example of a place because for me, I'm trying to move back to my happy place. And in the meantime, I'm in a place that makes me, as a friend of mine reflected back, like it sucks the life force out of me. That's what she said. She said, Corinne, that place sucks the life force out of me. And all of my close friends can hear it in my voice. When I'm in my happy place, it's like I'm a totally different person, vibrant, happy, fundamentally happy. Like I really am fundamentally a happy person, but I use this analogy in a post that I wrote, that it's like being a flower, that you put it in the right pot and you put it under the sun and you give it water and it has good soil and it blossoms, it flourishes, right? But you put a plant in a pot with crappy soil and no sun and no water, and what does it do? It wilts, it dies. So I'm like, yeah, I'm that flower. You put me in the wrong environment, and it's not that I don't have resilience, and it's not that I can't make lemonade out of lemons. I had a friend of mine that actually said she had an experience where she is in a similar kind of environment to where I'm now, which is very isolated. And she's like, well, wow, it's amazing for a week for a writer's retreat. But if I had to be in this every day, day in and day out with this level of isolation, she's like, I couldn't do it. And she was recognizing how like, wow, you have a lot of resilience. So it's not that, but it's just that when you're in a place that is not your habitat, you're fighting against the grain. And so one thing that I want to just drop in as a tangent, but it's an important one, is I think we have been in this paradigm of learning and growing and evolving through suffering. And I think like we all have the t-shirt, we've all done it, we're good, we can move on. And I think it's now growing and evolving through joy and growing and evolving through connectivity and collaboration and community, versus this kind of really the patriarchal strive for yourself, right? Dog eat dog kind of world. So I think that in general, there's this like let go of the story of suffering. And it's really fascinating for me because one of the things that makes my happy place happy is that the people there in general, the collective energy, you could say, is that of optimism and possibility, and people smile and they, talk to you, and it's, I don't know, there's just this lightness and brightness to it. Whereas where I'm currently there's a heaviness and there's this kind of, when I observe it, this addiction to misery because it's hard living. And so people have hard lives here. But I can see that there's this gruff, rough, like frown kind of energy, and that people choose it because it's what they're familiar with, and we're habitual creatures, and so we tend to lean towards what we're familiar with even if it doesn't make us happy. So I want to kind of put that as an aside to say we are now really being invited to go to your happy place. And I don't mean some like escapism, Shangri-La, like all of a sudden life is going to be perfect, but it's like we're stepping into our joy. We're stepping into our joy. And if your environment doesn't feed your soul, then listen to your soul and ask it, where am I best placed in these times? Because these are crazy times. They're chaotic and it's crumbling and all of these things. So the thing that is emerging from the crumbling is joy, is authenticity, is the liberation of who we truly are. And so the environment that we're in really matters. It really, really matters. And I strongly encourage everyone to listen. You know how I've talked about, like, get to know the essence of your soul so that you can understand also its language, and listen to it, ask it questions. Where am I best placed? Where do you want to be? how do you want to be? What do you want to embody? What do you want to experience? We don't need to do this linear patriarchal bullshit anymore of like, succeed and achieve and this for validation and that for acceptance and this to be loved and this to feel important. Like, no, you get to just be you, and you get to enjoy yourself, and you get to be in the places that make you happy. Now, I understand that's a transition. I've been in a long ass transition trying to get back to my happy place. I don't have my, I'm not like pie in the sky. I am also very practical, but we're getting beyond this. If logic makes you contract, don't be logical. Go into what makes you expand, and maybe believe that things are more possible than you think they are. And that so much of our limitation comes to our beliefs. So anyway, that's a huge tangent, but to bring it back in, I want to go back to love. Because in the places where we're wanting love and beauty, and I'm wrapping them in two because beauty brings me love and love brings me beauty. For me, they are one and the same in many ways. And when you feel like, oh, I'm not in that, whether it's like I'm not in the partnership that I would love to be in, or I'm not in the place that I would love to be in, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Right? So for me, I can only share from my perspective and experience. It's twofold. It's one is like when I was taking a walk and I was present enough to catch that moment on the side of the road where there was this beautiful butterfly on the beautiful wildflower drinking up the nectar. And that filled me with something. It filled me with beauty. And therefore, that beauty that kind of landed in my heart gave me that feeling of love. And it is the same feeling of being in love with a person. Because again, as I said before, it's what we're after is a state. It's a state of being. And so when we're in love with a person, it evokes a feeling, an experience, an embodiment. And so who's to say that that can't be created by other things? So for me, the butterfly and the flower was creating that experience. So it's finding the little moments and being present enough to stop and smell the roses, right? Take your time and take in the beauty that does exist around you, because it does. Sometimes we just don't notice it. And two, the other aspect to that is there will be the mornings or the evenings or the lunch times when you feel that pang, that ache in your heart of that kind of loss or missing of, or grief even, of I really want to be in that place or be with that person or to be with my person or to whatever it is that your heart is desiring. And it's okay for your heart to desire that. And it's okay to have the mornings where you might feel depressed, or you might feel sad, or you might feel angry, or you might feel defeated. I'm all for embracing your entire humanity, and that's part of it. Because I think what a lot of people struggle with, or where they hit the wall, is that there's this kind of, oh, I shouldn't be feeling that. I shouldn't be feeling that. And especially anybody that kind of gets thrown into the spiritual world, and you attract who you are and how you are. And so like, don't be negative, be careful, you might attract something bad. Or when people often say, even around relationship, they say, oh, I keep on attracting this and this and this. Yes, there's a truth to it. You might be attracting it, but the way that I like to rephrase it is, that's what you're noticing. That's what you're seeing, right? You're still seeing through some kind of lens that is perceiving that as something that's familiar. And maybe there's still layers of it that you need to work through. But that's why it's like opening our periphery vision and seeing things through a different lens and from a different perspective, one that is coming from worth, one that is coming from what we know we deserve, and one that is coming from a place as best as possible of appreciation and gratitude for what is here. And also this kind of faith, trust, knowing of what will come. But the tricky part of that is not to be in the like, I'm waiting for it to come. I wrote a post this morning about how I'm in the state of patience, patiently waiting for my home, patiently waiting for my partner. And I'm in these kind of pockets of moments in between, but trying to be in those moments with presence, trying to be in the state of love in those moments of presence, in the moments in between that are the patiently waiting for. But do you see what I mean? Like you can have this thing of what you're wanting to call in and bring towards you, but we also have to be here in the now. And so I think that, there's not some like fluffy, beautiful, shiny answer to the question of what do we do? What do we do whilst we're in the green room, you could say, right? You enjoy the green room and you enjoy every element of that, right? And I know it sounds really funny to say enjoy it even if you have moments of suffering. And actually, that reminds me of a quick story that I want to share with you. When I was in my early 20s, I was traveling around Southeast Asia. And I think I was in Thailand at the moment. And I was staying in an ashram. And there was this really sweet Japanese couple that my boyfriend and I at the time befriended. And one evening, we only saw him. He came out to the meditation and his partner didn't. And we're like, oh, where is she? And he said, oh, she's at home enjoying her cold. So she'd had like a cold, whatever, just got a little bit sick. But I love that he said enjoying her cold. Like nobody says like, oh, I'm enjoying being ill right now. But there was something so beautiful about that because it had this absolute faith and trust that whatever was arising for a reason, and it was to be enjoyed because it was part of the process. And all I can say for myself, the learning of that and the experience of that is when I had an injury for 7 years and I spent most of that time hating my ankle and being in conflict with that part of me. This took me from my career. This is keeping me from having the freedom that I want in my life or the joy or happiness. And then it was the moment that I realized, oh my God, I'm battling with myself. And I stopped doing that and I apologized to my ankle. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I've pushed you away for so long. And when I included it as a part of myself, because it literally is a part of my body, that's when I healed. So this is why all parts deserve to be included. And that might be the anger, that might be the sadness, that might be the despair, the defeat. All of it gets to be included. And then I think the other bit that I want to throw into it is it's a vulnerable process. And for myself, I'm trying to just invite myself as often as I can. Just like I said, this happy place softens me. That when I'm in a place that might harden me, whether it's the physical place or maybe it's the yearning and the heart kind of wants to go into like self-protection and it wants to contract and it wants to close and it wants to harden. Can that be an invitation actually to open and just soften more? So that softening doesn't just come in the state of beauty and love and connection and having everything that we want to have, but that it can also, and most especially, it's really needed when we're in the pain, when we're in the suffering, when we're in the sadness, when we're in the anger. It's like, okay, can I feel all of these big feelings and stay soft and open and tender in my heart? Because then when we're open to receive the very thing that we're calling in. Because to kind of say, I want this to come into my life, but then to physically, emotionally, and spiritually and energetically go, tighten a bud. How can anything come in? And we might not even notice it because we might be like, so contracted that we can't even see. And so there is this, this morning, every morning when I do my meditation and I tune in and I kind of ask just like, what's the message of the day from my higher self? I just really heard like, receive. Ready yourself to receive, and it will come in its own divine timing. But ready yourself to receive. Because so often people want things. And, I was personally in this situation of someone that like, they got what they asked for. They got everything that they asked for from life. And then they threw it away for what was familiar, what was the comfort zone. And that's where we have to really keep ourselves in check and be really honest with ourselves. It's like, okay, if I get the thing that I'm wanting, the saying, be careful of what you wish for, you might just get it. If I get the thing that I've been wanting, can I fully receive it and fully show up to it and fully rise up to the occasion? Because I think, speaking about relationship, especially, why so many people are single is because they're not wanting to settle. They're not willing to settle anymore. We are rising to another level of consciousness, and therefore the paradigm of relationship is changing and it's evolving, which means we have to evolve and we have to rise up to the occasion and step up to the plate and be like, okay, who do I need to be in the relationship that I really want to be in? And so many of us are not settling because we don't want to go back to the old ways and the trauma bonds and the toxicity and the, the lack of consciousness to be under par with what we're wanting to produce and embody and create out in the world. Now it's like, really be mindful of what you're wanting to create and bring forth into the world. And I think this shift from I to we, from me to we, as a general collective theme, is a big one. And so the question is, how can I be of service? And I think love and union is such a beautiful embodiment and practice and spiritual path of that. Is, how can I be of service in servitude, not as a slave, but as one that is in devotion to the other, to source, to love, to our true and purely innate nature and essence, right? Nature as a human and our essence as a soul. We're returning to that, and we're creating this embodiment of, heaven on earth, you could say. And I'm not saying that it doesn't have to come from a biblical sense. It's just really, it's a state of being. And it goes back to, what do we love about love? We love being in the state of love. Why? Because we are love. And so therefore that feels like home, and that feels like source. Why would you not love that? So the invitation today is, no matter where you are, it's okay. Be with it, hold it, feel it, experience it, listen to it, trust it. Let your heart be the guide. Let your heart be the compass. Are you willing to take the risk? Are you willing to take the risk to follow, to listen to your heart, to trust it, and then follow it? And it's okay to push yourself outside of the comfort zone. It's about time, right? We don't need to do the old boring, like, what's your 5-year plan and your 10-year plan, and get all your ducks in a row. Life isn't linear. It was never a straight line. It's all squiggly and messy and upside down and inside out and turned this way and that way. And it's cyclical and it's circular and it's ever evolving and growing. Like, draw outside the lines. Get out of the damn box. Open the door to your cage that you put yourself in, that society told you to get in. Throw away the fucking key. Go be you. Go do you. Go to your happy place. And that might, just listen to your soul will tell you, your heart will tell you. It's not something that comes from your mind. It's not logical. It's so much vaster than that. So let yourself expand and put yourself in the places, whether it's even in your own town or city or countryside, but the places that nourish you, the places that feed your heart, your soul. And can you allow yourself to receive? And in the moments of contraction where maybe you're not in your happy place and you're not with your happy person and you're not feeling happy within yourself, can that be okay too? And can you soften into that as well? And can you allow your heart to continue to open rather than harden and close? That feeling. You can still be in a state of relaxation even when you're sad, even when you're angry. I know that sounds weird, but the difference between relaxation and tension within our experience is, am I allowing it or am I fighting against it? Am I accepting it or am I resisting it? This, if you're watching the video, open your chest, open your heart, open your throat, open your being to receiving that which you innately deserve, which is love, which is beauty, which is home. I'll leave it at that. I hope that scrambled eggs of a podcast episode made sense. And as always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye. Thanks for being here with me. You've You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.